Everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of the Turbo Tuesday podcast here with NXTGEN. Unlucky for some in terms of the number, but not lucky for us three who are hosting tonight's podcast. I'm Jack, of course, and joining me as ever, as always, first of all, we've got Jordan.
Good evening.
And also joining us, as always, Mikey is with us as well.
Hello. Hey, 13's my lucky number.
13's also a lucky number for me.
Is it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Fun fact before we start, I passed my driving test on the 13th.
Fun fact, I was born on the 13th.
Yeah.
That's even
Jordan,
luckier.
anything for you for 13?
No.
You were 13 once, there we go.
I was 13 once. For a year.
I think we'll leave that part there, boys. Before we get carried away.
That's the end of the podcast. No,
Just look at the events page and see you later. Yeah.
Obviously, this week saw the culmination, effectively, of virtually every single league in NXTGEN, which was good. We got champions elect, we got racer winners events to prepare, and we've got a whole other matters to go through as well. Now, of course, last week when we did the podcast, we'd already discussed the Monday leagues and the Tuesday leagues. However, there's still one league on a Monday that we do need to discuss, but we'll come to that at the end, just to round everything off. So we'll start with our Wednesday league that's on PS4. That's the Assetto Corsa Competizione for the GT3 League. Jordan, if they've updated the figures, which I hope they have, what have we got?
Let me have a look.
Do you delve out music, Jordan?
Nah, that's right. I haven't got anything in a central document, but they may have something on their events page, because I know they've been having a bit of a change around at the moment.
Whilst you do that, Jordan, just to give everyone a heads up for those that are watching already, Season 20, just a little brief announcement, the events pages for the leagues will be going live on Thursday. So that's Thursday, you'll start to see the events pop up. If you have a look in the announcements section on Facebook, you'll be able to see all the links to each of the individual leagues that will be going on. It gives you the dates, the times, the format of all the leagues that we'll be having, as well as the console and PC. So a lot of opportunity to get involved and get racing. We're seeing a couple of names coming back who used to race with us, which is really awesome, and a whole bunch of new drivers. I'm hoping, though, that Jordan has found the table.
I haven't found the table, but I've just sent you, and that was a ghastly noise. God almighty.
Yeah, I was trying to gain the suspense, get it going.
I've sent you some pictures, Jack, from Kyle Army, which is round 9 that they've done from last week, so I've got a couple of extra bits done.
Okay, so
it was good you added that last bit, George, just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah.
This was from Kyle Army in terms of the qualifying session on the first picture, I believe, Jordan. Yeah. It was LELI 9 who took pole position in what looks to be a Bentley. It's 3/10 clear of Gonna Fail Uni. What a cracking PSN name that is. Oh, I've been there and done it, my friend. Third on the grid was NXTGEN Hankin, and in fourth you had Mike Farrell wrapped. NXTGEN Largo was fifth, Hirakram amazingly sixth. You would never expect to see Hirakram in 6th place, but there he was. This was, of course, on the Assetto Corsa. NXTGEN Bean flipping. It was 7th within a second of it, and Lukan was 8th in terms of just within a second almost of Lely 9. In terms of the race results, after 35 laps around the brilliant Kyle Army circuit, it was NXTGEN Hankin who won in an Audi. I'm assuming that's going to be an R8, and he won by 1 second from Gonna Fail Uni, who was second in that Bentley. Third was Hirakram in the Nissan, which would be the R35 GTR, if I recall correctly. He was 40 seconds back from the front two, so really good set of pace going on for the front two. Mike Farrat was fourth, he was a little bit further back than that, and then Silver Carter, 87, rounded up the top 5. There seems to be a little bit of spaces in between there, so it's quite difficult to see what was going on. I believe the lobbies, did they merge, I believe, last week?
They did, yeah, I believe for the remainder of the season they are merged.
And unfortunately, for those that are listening at the moment, I actually don't know who's in Lobby 1 and who's in Lobby 2, so I can't discern between them. I do apologise on that. In terms of retirements, Bean Flicker, I think, was 3 laps back. Lucan was 6 laps back, and Jamo was 14 laps back, so...
In terms of lobbies, Lobby 2 was won by Mike Ferrapt, second was Silver Carter, but I know there's a couple of new people within the league who may fall into the Lobby 2 category. So, yeah, Mike Ferrapt won Lobby 2, obviously Hankin won Lobby 1. I'm going to assume from their pace, Gunnerfell Union Hero Crown probably would be Lobby 1 as well.
Yeah. You would assume that. He also had Mark Broadbent finishing in 7th, just behind Ben Phelan, 6th, who was in a Porsche. I have to say, Mark Broadbent, any relation to Jimmy?
Not a clue, mate. First time I've seen the name.
First time I've seen the name as well, but if he is, say hello to Jimmy for us. Kevin M. Senti was 8th overall, 9th was Fox_FCF, and Nick Osloose rounded out the top 10. What I will say though, Mike Ferreira PT or Mike Ferrapt, depending on how he prefers to pronounce that name, he was the last driver to finish on the lead lap, so Kyle Army proving to be quite a challenge.
Brand new track for the guys over for this season. See Kyle Army, the first time on a game I've since trying to think when the last game was that had Kyle Army on it.
Took Race Driver 3 on console.
Was it on Toka Race Driver 3? Maybe 2.
Yeah.
I don't remember it on 3.
I remember it on 3.
I don't.
Anyway, I think that's got to be the last time. It's like, I can't recall it being on console since then. I can't remember it on the Xbox side anyway.
No, I'm just wondering if it was on a MotoGP game at any point. Cause I know they did do a stint at Kyle Army, I think. Or Superbikes. It might be Superbikes.
That's true. In terms of a car racing game,
yeah,
I think that would be the case. So, yeah, it seems like a tough race of the drivers. It's a great circuit to go around. But hey, let's see how drivers' standings go up. I've tried to delay for as long as I possibly can for John, so he can sort them.
I've got the McGann tables set, but in terms, is there any other Thursday leagues? I'm trying to think.
Scirocco's.
GT3, GT4 mixed series. Yeah. Give me a minute, because I know they should be updated, so I can send you a picture.
We'd just like to take this time to thank our sponsors for their brilliant support this season. Hope to obviously work with them in the near future.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time I've heard Mikey speak in this section of the podcast ever.
Well, usually I just ramble on. I can't get a word that I'm going to say. So, okay, so onto this. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm usually like lagging behind. I catch up at a certain point.
Right then, Jack, I'm about to send you across the picture of the GT3 GT4.
Awesome. Thanks very much for that, Jord. That is GT3, GT4. Did they not send any tables through for Wednesday then?
I haven't spotted any because I know it's been a bit of a rush for them because they've had server issues during the last couple of weeks. So I think they've been focusing on trying to get the server prepped and ready. And also, fun fact about the GT3, I know they were testing with a commentator tonight.
Oh. That'll be interesting to see how that goes. Because obviously you had a chat about how that would work. Does it seem relatively straightforward?
No.
Oh, good. Glad that set of goals.
No, there's a few kinks, shall we say, that needs to be ironed out. But I believe there's due to be a patch out at some point that may address them.
So let me guess, you'd have to enter the race, retire, spectate from there.
No, it's just a case that you can't spectate it in quali.
Oh, it's a bit odd.
Because if you spectate quali, you then get kicked out in before the race. You get blue screened. That's if you use
really peculiar.
That's if you use what they call a spectator slot. So I don't know whether they're trying tonight, whether they're trying like a spectator slot, and if they were to enter the race itself, just to get it working. Which I'm not gonna lie, I'm going to be very intrigued about because Row coming up soon.
I was going to say that would be interesting. For those that don't know what Row is, by the way, for those that are listening, because we do abbreviate quite a lot, is Race of Winners. These are our end of season events that are sort of seen as the prestigious events. We've run them since season 3, so we're at the end of season 19 now, and we've had them for varied leagues: Project Cars 1, Project Cars 2, GT Sports, that's of course are the original, and then Competizione. So we'll see, in terms of how GT Sport and AC will go on come in a few weeks' time, but we'll give you more announcements and details on that in the coming weeks on the Next Gen page. But let's move over to Thursday, shall we, Jord?
Yeah, so mixed GT3, GT4 league, I believe you should have those stats in front of you.
Yeah, I do indeed. In terms of the race win, it went the way, obviously this is on PC, went the way of Mr. Daniel Blomqvist. He won the race. It was around Spa on a 24-hour time cycle, so day-night race on that one. In second place we had Daniel Holmer, who managed to score a good result for him there to just edge himself away from in the top 5 of the championship. Third was Christian Hamrebo. He got 15 points for his third place finish. Fourth and second in the championship went to, and this is literally his name, E.Uncle. So he scored 205, but unfortunately it wasn't enough for him to seal the title, so he ended up second in the championship. It was Daniel Blomqvist in the end. When he took that victory, took the championship with him, so congratulations to Daniel on that one. Sorted it out at the final round, had to do it on circuit, and well played to him, absolutely well done. So Daniel Blomqvist, your first ACC GT3, GT4 League champion on PC, so well done to him.
Yeah, good effort, and I believe Kevin's going to be continuing that for next season. You probably know more than I do, Jack, at the current stage.
Yes, I will come on to that in a little while. There are some plans afoot in that respect. However, it's not going to be what you think it might be. I'll explain a little bit. It is on the announcements page, but I will explain in a short while. Shall we go on to the McGanns, Jules?
On to the McGanns it is, yes. Very, obviously, last round at Lago Maggiore GP. Obviously, this is the round we get to know what drop scores everyone gets and how that affects the championship. In truth, because obviously the guys only get a rough knowledge of where they really sit going into that final round. So it does make things a little bit interesting when it comes to all the on-track action.
Yeah, it does, especially around Lago Maggiore, which was a really, really good track to watch everyone try and get around in. It was a lot of battle and a lot of fun. I normally talk about Lobby 2 first, but Jordan, do you wanna do Lobby 1?
Yeah.
First time? It's been a while, so...
Yeah, no. Fantastic little session for the guys. Very, very close racing, especially in the mid-pack. But Hirokram ultimately ended the season and as he started, which was to take the pole position, take the victory, take the fastest lap, and take 23 points away from Lago to leave himself on 182 points. Now bear in mind, Hirokram did not do Tsukuba, which means those 182 points have come from every race he has raced in this season, which is I must say a monumental total considering he's had 2 top 4 reverse grid races to deal with.
That is phenomenal.
that is not an easy feat, shall we say. In terms of further down the field, a hill climb racer took second, and because of his drop score 6 compared to Rodo's 10, he ended up taking second in the championship, and that includes any other tweaks I had to make due to some fillers being in the league. So that was a tight battle between Hillclimb and Rodo on track, but Rodo finishing third in the championship. Now those guys have had a fantastic campaign. They've really pushed Heracram. I mean, it looks quite bad because obviously Heracram has 182 points to Hillclimb's 140 after drop scores. Now that sounds like a lot, but Heracram has been really pushed to get those wins, and thoroughly deserved them. But one mistake from Heracram in any of those races, and it would have been a lot tighter, and definitely a lot more pressure on Heracram going into that final round.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, like the guys in the chat have been saying, and Heracram himself has actually said, you know, we were talking about it, and he just said absolutely that I've been pushed this season, and he knows fully that everyone has improved, and that's what it's all about, isn't it, at the end of the day? And I think next season, I think it's going to be even tougher for him. You can see the improvements across the field. It's just measuring that consistency, and obviously they're going to have a new driver featuring in Lobby 1 next season, who I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'll segue on to Lobby 2 now, Gerald.
Yeah, I was going to say, in terms of a few other drivers, obviously Timmy unfortunately retired after an accident. Jainho fourth. Adam ID, the biggest battle was between Jainho, Adam ID, Bruce and P. Gibb fighting it out for that fourth place. Probably one of the best battles I've seen around Lago Maggiore. Jainho taking those honours. Yeah, other than that, everyone else, I had a spin, so we won't talk about that.
What happened, Jordan?
Well, I kind of just, I went up the inside of someone, took to the curb to make sure I didn't make contact, and I think we did make contact, and the rear decided it didn't want any of it. It's about the size of it.
So technically, you tried to make the decision not to have the consequence, and made the consequence the action in the film.
Yeah, well, I think as the guy on the outside turned in, I think he didn't quite realise I was there, and kind of turned in on me. It wasn't a massive deal because it was only for the latter places because I didn't have a great quality, but yeah, you know, a bit of racing. I tried to catch back up, but just without any slipstream around Lago, you're a bit done for, to be fair. But no, that's alright. If anyone's interested, I finished 9th in the league, so there we go.
Well done, George.
There we go.
Well
There we go.
In terms of Lobby 2, we obviously went down the same course, Lago Maggiore, lots of battles throughout. Two drivers, class of the field though, was D10 Piper and Martin J09 in qualifying. Martin took pole position. They had a really good scrap all the way through the race, little mistakes here and there. Martin and D10 were swapping positions, but D10 Piper got the better of Martin in the end. He's been, you know, unlucky this season. I think without 3 or 4 races in the middle of the season where he got turned around in a couple of lap 1 accidents, he'd have been a lot closer in the championship. But sometimes you need the run of the green, and D10 didn't have it. So I suspect, you know, he's going to go into next season as arguably one of the favourites. But I say one of the favourites because it's so wide open. But he did win. He got that first place to round off the season, which is positive news for him. Martin finished second. He was less than 7/10 behind D10 at the finish line. Then came absolute madness in the last corner. We had a spectacular race all the way through, loads of fighting for the mid-pack. There was 5 cars fighting over 6th place at one point. There was battling for 9th and 10th. It was really awesome to watch. Dominated 3, Seamus, a couple of others involved as well. But Bertus got his line wrong coming out of the final corner in the battle for 3rd, and he just held off Snav for that 3rd place in the end. They were separated by 400ths of a second, which is an incredibly close finish. Then Danzo ran wide when he was in the battle for 5th of 1805, ran onto the grass and then ended up spinning round, and he lost it just as they came to the line. So 1805 got 6th, which is amazing. Danzo was 6th in the end. Seamus was 7th. Dominator 3 was 8th. Duds again involved in the thick of the action 9th, and the 55-8 having a really good race. It's the first time we've seen him in a while, but it was nice to see him having a consistent race. And he finished out the top 10. We had 2 debutantes as well, and Big Madaz finished in 12th. Happy Henny unfortunately retired after a collision earlier on with the unluckiest man in the league, NXTGEN Bigsy. But, you know, it was a great race. It was really good fun to watch. I absolutely loved commentating on it. And I think, you know, the plans for the Megans as to rhyme for next season, I think it's going to be really fascinating to see how everyone gets on.
Yeah, and I actually I got to see the point of view of Snav on that last lap, because it was a funny story really, because he was going around happily following birds, and all of a sudden he looked down at the time and just saw there was time for one more lap, and he suddenly went, "Oh, I better get on with it." And then he went hunting after birds, and he took a load of time out of it at the end. So a lot of pressure really from birds. It's been that on the last lap when the gap suddenly decreases at a rate of knots. Sounds like he was a little bit of gap watching, shall we say?
Yeah, I had a post-race interview with Martin, which was really nice. He was a good chat. He was very frank and honest about it all, and he said he's looking forward to going into Lobby 1 and fighting the drivers with his new machinery that he's bought. So he's going to be, you'd expect him to make some logical improvements with the new wheel and everything. So I think he's going to be great to watch.
I think it's going to be. You say it with a new wheel, it's going to be interesting, but I can't remember if GT Sport actually fully supports the wheel he uses. I think there's some sort of. I think he's going to emulate it as a G29. So it could be interesting. That one could be very interesting. But in terms of the championship, obviously Martin's already won the championship at Suzuki East. Snav did come home for second in the championship with 138 points to Martin's 183. Remember, all scores are inclusive of drops. D10 Piper, his win, gave him a late surge into third in the championship, so that was a cracking result in the end, because he was going in about fifth, I think, D10 Piper going in. So it's a cracking effort to win and take third in the championship. Bertus, only 3 points behind D10 Piper on 127, Danzo 118, Seamus 111, and Duds rounding out the top 7 on 100 points.
Awesome stuff then. Obviously McGann's confirmed for coming back in season 20 if you weren't here last week. They will be returning. In terms of a league that isn't returning, is it, Jordan?
TBC is the word I would use. Yeah, TBC. It's going to largely depend around what the McGann structure will be for next season, because as you know, Jack, there's a few potential tweaks.
Changes afoot, potentially.
Well, potentially, yeah. There's a few outsiding factors, but yeah, TBC is definitely the word to use.
Okay, then, to be confirmed for season 20, we'll talk about the Scirocco's of season 19, obviously again around Lago Maggiore, but this time at the East variant.
The only track this season to have a different variant used between the two leagues.
It is, yeah, absolutely. It turned out to be the correct decision to make on that front, which is really good to see. In terms of the race, I'm not going to talk too much about pole position, because I believe it was it Aerocram on pole again?
Aerocram on pole position, yeah.
Aerocram on pole position, but the fight between first and second for Timmy and Aerocram versus third, fourth and fifth was just like phenomenal. Timmy and Aerocram, Timmy has really stepped up to the plate this season. He's been absolutely fantastic in the Scirocco's. He's getting quicker and quicker, and on a controller as well. It's exceptionally impressive. And those two were fighting all the way through, and Aerocram was leading. He crossed the line first, but he had a penalty. And unfortunately he couldn't get rid of it in the heat of battle, and Timmy got the victory, and he wouldn't put it past him to say it was well deserved. He really put in a good shift, did Timmy, and it's a great way for him to end season 19 with that victory. Hirokram was second, but then you roll back to third. Bruce managed to fend off early on, drove off into the distance, secured third, did what he needed to do. Again, this is atypical of Bruce in the Shrockos, he just gets on with the role. Then the fight for fourth was a case of whoever wants it. At one point it could have been Dave, at one point it could have been Rally Matt 85, it could have been Gibb, it could have been Jord, it could have been Seamus. any one of them five could have took fourth place. It was absolutely phenomenal to commentate on. It was really good fun to watch. In the end, just about managed to hold on. Gibb and Rally Matt were able to just break away from the drivers behind. Obviously, still they were both. Everyone was squabbling over fourth place. Gibb got that fourth. Rally Matt was fifth. Jordan got sixth after a good fight back through the field. Dave Whitehouse was seventh. Seamus finished in eighth place, so he just hit the end of that field. Then there was D10 Piper, 1805, Snav, Danzo, Gino Demmer. Danzo and Dominator all together, but you know, Gino Demmer coming home in second place in Lobby 2 was quite a stand-up moment. Sorry, third, behind
1805 and Rally Matt.
1805, yeah. I thought 1805 was in Lobby 1.
No, he's Lobby 2.
I thought he was Lobby 1.
Nope.
Strange. Well, nevertheless, Gino Demmer scoring third on a podium in Lobby 2. Considering that he's not really raced that much this season, I thought it was a really good drive. I thought that was a standout in Lobby 2. I thought it was a really top effort. And he was shadowed by Snav all the way through the race, who I assume was just tracking him to keep out of Danzo.
I'm going to remain impartial and not really say much, because I know what's happened in the race, and so I'm going to remain impartial because nothing was done about it because it was the final round. But I know a couple of things. Obviously, a couple of the drivers weren't very happy about. But yeah, in the end, it was a good little tussle between the two. But yeah, I just can't help but smile when I hear that I finished sixth in that race, because I came from outside the top 10.
Exactly, that's what I mean. So, you know, Shrockos to be confirmed, but they've been good fun to commentate on. I've enjoyed them this season. I think, depending on how the McGanns go, it's going to be fascinating to see where they will slot in potentially.
Yeah, it's been a fun season. I mean, there's been times where the car, like for me, for example, has been very understeer. It's become quite a more challenging car than it used to be, because obviously, Jack, you remember I used to drive in it when it originally appeared in Next Gen with Greener Army as the host. And compared to season 16, which was the last season of these Scirocco's before this season, they're a lot different. Like there's a lot more understeer with them, so for everyone to adjust to them is fantastic to see. In terms of championship, because I'm sure you're dying to know, Hirokram obviously Lobby 1 champion, we already knew that. 194 points, again, all legitimate points. He has a 0 drop score from Tsukuba. Timmy second on 141, Bruce 129, P. Gibb 116, I was on 108, which amazingly, Jack, I had a higher drop score than P. Gibb, which says something about some of P. Gibb's luck this season. And also his pace. D. Whitehouse 93, D10 on 90. Obviously, unfortunately, he has a drop score of 7, so that's why he's behind D. Whitehouse. He would have been ahead of him otherwise. Rodo 55, and then the rest are the rest, shall we say. In terms of Lobby 2, Rally Matt completely dominant in this series, winning all bar one of the races in Lobby 2. He finishes on 202 points, and I must also stress that is also legitimate because he also had a 0 score. Where was that to? That was at Alsace. he didn't compete there. So that's 202 points, Jack. Legitimately, that's a fantastic effort. Snav finished second on 135, Danzo 130, Suburtus 108, Big Z 84, Dud 77, 1805 76, and then the rest just filter down.
Cracker. Yeah, that's the best way to sum it up then in the grand scheme of it all. So let's move over to Friday, shall we?
Yes, let's go. Where shall we start? Do you want to do the Porsches, Jack? Do you start there?
Yeah, we can jump into the Porsches if need be. I do have the post. Obviously, round 10 went to the Nordschleife, around that wonderful circuit known as the Green Hell, obviously named by Jackie Stewart. And a big championship fight heading into the finale. And Matt Allen, Dave Neesham, David Ward involved in that championship fight. It was a 1 hour feature race as opposed to the two championship races that they would normally have. In the end, pole position went the way of David Ward, and sure enough, he took the victory and the championship with it. So well done to David Ward on that one, congratulations. He took that victory. Second place ended up going the way of second in the championship, which was Matt Allen. Obviously pushed David all the way through the season. It's been a good season for him. So he finished second in the race. And Matthew Hodges as well snuck into the top 10 at the very last. He finishes 10th in the championship by finishing third during the race. He just snuck in, fortunately for him. So well done to Matt on that one. Fourth went the way of Dave Neesham in the race. So awesome result for Dave. Couldn't quite get the championship, but nevertheless it's still another good result. Jochen Siegers was 5th in the race, and 6th in that race. The top 6 I'm going to go to was Lee Horn. Obviously he finished 6th. In terms of the drivers' championship, on the top 10, David Ward winning on 305 points in the end. Matt Allen second on 278, so pretty close between Matt and David. Dave, he was third on 232. Lee Horn finished 4th on 177 points. Jeff Perkist finished 5th on 148 points. Jamie Dory was 6th on 134. Michael Seal was 7th on 130. Will Orton was 8th on 126. Freddie Hewitt was 9th on 108. And Matty Hodges, as I said before, snuck into the top 10 on 104.
Cracking little league, and I already know behind the scenes. I know it's not been announced, so I won't say anything about it. At least I don't believe it's been announced. So I already know that there's another league on iRacing for next season already being prepped. But the Porsches have produced some quality action this season from obviously the results that we've seen. Obviously everything streamed by Jacko Racing, which I'm sure Lee and Jamie would probably want us to say thank you for his services this season.
Absolutely, it's been really good this season. I've watched a few races myself. It's been fantastic to watch. Really good action.
So obviously, always good to have the commentary on racing. Just gives that little extra element, as we know, Jack. But a hell of a race around the Nordschleife as well, because that's the VLN, which means you've got to go through the GP loop as well for good measure. So not easy, but another championship down. Where do you want to head next? Should we go GT Sport?
Yeah, let's go to the focuses, because that's your area of expertise.
You'd say area of expertise, but yeah, we went to Brands Hatch GP for the final round, and what a fight we had for the lead. Philo put it on pole position, about 3/10, if I remember correctly, over Hirokram in second, which is a fantastic effort. I mean, 3/10 over Hirokram is like a bloody lifetime normally. It's very, very hard to do. But Philo started off well, kept Hirokram behind, lost the lead after a small mistake. and as we went through, it allowed Bruce Lee hunting into second, and even better was that Hero made a couple of rare mistakes which allowed Bruce into the lead of the race, and up until about the 10-minute mark he was unchallenged until Hero came along, and for the next between the 10th and 15th minute of the race, Hero was chomping on Bruce Lee's rear bumper like you wouldn't believe, and the saga wasn't over because Hero managed to get the lead very late on, and then he made a small mistake, and then Bruce retook the lead, and then Hero just about coming out of Hawthorns managed to get an overlap into Westfield to retake the lead on the final lap of the race to win it. It was a fantastic battle to watch and commentate on, and completely unnecessary for Hero because Bruce was a non-scoring driver, effectively. But it was a great battle to watch. Everyone else kind of just spread out a little bit. Obviously, not the most participants, about eight drivers on the night. And yeah, Philo managed to get second in the end because Bruce went off through Sheen Curve to try and keep up with Hero and potentially do a last minute move into Stirling or Clark Curve, but didn't quite work out for him. But
if he was going around Hawthorns and Hero got bad, it sent him into the fields.
Hero actually switched it through Hawthorns.
Oh, I'd have definitely sent him off even if he didn't know where he was.
So, in terms of scoring drivers, Hero won with Philo second, P. Gibb third, Logan Greenway fourth, 1805, followed by Bifter and Snav. But Snav was very, very unlucky. 1805 lost the car going into Paddock Hill Bend, and clipped the red and white barrier on the inside. Snav taking avoiding action, ended up in the gravel, and it cost him a very what was looking to be a very, very good fight between Bifter himself and 1805, so very, very big shame there. That could have been a hell of a battle again. But obviously Snav finishing last in that one. In terms of the championship, Hero 224 points total. I just want to check something, which means, and I don't know if anyone's ever done this before, Jack. He won every single round.
What, of the whole season?
According to my stats, yes.
So he joins RS Jim in the pantheon of greats.
224. It's 10 victories with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 22 scores, which means he took 1 bonus point, which means on 3 occasions he took the pole position and not the fastest lap. Another 3 occasions he took the fastest lap but not the pole positions, and on the other 4 occasions he took every point possible in that race session.
Pretty dominant then.
Yeah, if you know his scores, it was 23, 22, 22, 22, 23, 23, 23, 22, 22, 22. How's that for consistency?
Very consistent.
224 points, and P. Gibb did finish second in the end with a 0 score, by the way, at Brands Hatch Indy. He was 135. So you can see the difference there. It was a difference of 89 between first and second this season. But 135 for P. Gibb, 123 for Philo, 111 for Logan Greenway, Snav on 103. D. Whitehouse finished on 69 with Bifter on 68 and 1805 on 62, and that's how the focuses ended this season.
Grand stuff, grand stuff. So we shall see what happens with the Focus League in terms of next season. Obviously that's another one to CBC, so keep an eye on the information about more for focusers, nevertheless. We do have one more league to talk about on a Friday, though, don't we, Jord?
Yeah, the GT4 ACC World Tour. There it is, and I actually have insider knowledge on this because I competed in the final round. Because obviously they didn't do it on the Friday,
No.
due to, again, a bit of server issue. They done it yesterday. They competed, so I decided I was going to take on and take something with me. Literally turned up on the day without a single bit of practice, as you do. And you'll know this, Jack, because I was in with you and Alex discussing F1 before I was going to quali. I decided I was going to take the Porsche 718 for a bit of a spin, and I got a top 5 out of 5.
Hey. Oh.
But it's a top 5, so now in terms of everyone else, Bean Flicker took the pole position. He was very, very quick. It was John that yesterday in his BMW took the pole position, and he won by about 10 seconds. I think it was very, very dominant performance from Silver Carter, which means that John takes the championship status of GT4. He wins that league.
Because he won last season, didn't he, in the half season that they did? On a Friday.
Was that GT4?
Well, he's took 2 championships in a row, regardless.
I'll see if I can double check that.
I'm not quite certain. I'm pretty certain John definitely did win this league last season.
I know he's won a league, but I think it may have been the Porsche Super Cup.
Ah, yes, it was, but it was on a Friday, so he's took 2 Fridays.
I don't actually have a central document for that.
He did take Friday's championship last season, at half season that it was, and won it, and he's done it again over a 10-rounder. So
yeah,
I have to say, he's
by
the Friday night champion.
nine points this season. He went into Silverstone 6 points advantage. Obviously increased that by another 3. In terms of the other drivers, Gnarly Pop and Stu Packham, those two had a fantastic battle, I can tell you now, because they were less than 5 seconds apart from each other. And I could see on my timing screen that they were really, really close, having a decent battle. It kind of frayed at the end, but very, very good. I mean, fastest lap from John was a 2:10, and me myself, even though I finished a minute behind everyone, I was quite happy with my pace in the end, because I managed to dip into the 2:12s from a 2:15 in quali. So I kind of took it as a bit of practice. The one thing I would say is I'm not on the central document for points, and I'm very disappointed.
Be a non-classified for Jordan in the championship standings.
No, that's another filler driver. I want my points. I'd still only finish 13th in the league anyway.
Get the roll, Jack. Just hit the roll there.
Brilliant. But yeah, that's the end of GT4, which the announcement hasn't gone out yet. But I've got a feeling that it will be returning for next season.
In terms of Sunday leagues, we've obviously got GT Sport and the M4s, but we'll come to Mikey on that in a minute. I think we should go to R Factor 2 though first.
R Factor 2 with the European Touring Car Championship.
Yep.
The final round, they headed to Donington Park GP, and bit of an anticlimax, I'm afraid, for this championship. Obviously, there was 5 points between the 2 leaders. Unfortunately, one of those leaders was unable to compete. So a bit of an anticlimax in reality for the championship, but it was Kenneth Andreasen who did race and took the championship status of this league. He won race 1, took second in race 2. He ends the season on 254 points to Arnaud Chalonnet's 220. In terms of the other results, race 1, Bob Bartle finished second with Ollie Page in third, which is quite a good effort because we know Ollie, Jack. He's I won't say he was the quickest person, and he'll be the first to admit that. So having a third place finish there is very, very good effort. Kevin in 4th and Matthew Williams in 5th. Race 2, it was Bob Bartle who won the race, followed by Kenneth Andreasen. Then Ollie Page with another podium finish. In 3rd, Kevin Smith, 4th, and Matthew Williams in 5th. In terms of the general championship, obviously we know Andreas and Shinies. Kevin Smith finished 3rd on 189, Matthew Williams on 185, so that was quite close in the end. Ollie Page 169, Kieran Williams 143, Jason Haddington 120, Bob Bartle 112, and bear in mind Bob done a part season, he didn't do a full season. Chris Needham 111, Alex Risley 66, and Andy Rawcliffe 15. And that's how R Factor 2 ended for the European Touring Car Championship.
Brilliant stuff. Awesome to see. Well done to Mr. Andreasen on his championship. All round an applause. I know he was happy.
Yes, he was very happy, wasn't he?
He was very happy in terms of that championship. But well done to him. It's much deserved. A good battle between him and Shan there, but unfortunately he couldn't finish the season off, could he? So it's, like you said, John, a bit of anticlimax, but nevertheless you have to be in it to win it, and he was. So Andreasen, champion. First season of the ETCRs. I know there are some plans afoot for next season, but I'll tell you about that shortly. Over to our colleague who sat very patiently for some time. How did Lobby 2 go? Because I don't even know if you raced in the end, because I know you weren't particularly available.
That's the BMW League.
I practiced. I partially qualified, and then there's an issue.
You started the race?
No, I didn't even start the race, mate. As you guys know. But no, obviously, round the legendary Bathurst or Mount Panorama, as it is known on GT Sport, you got 15 minutes quali. Obviously, it is big map, circuit. Bathurst, so it's always if you can walk it upright on the hill, you pretty much you've got it down to a T. If you can't, it's effectively going to be hell. I think you'll pretty much agree with me, lads, on that one.
Yeah, if you mess a downhill path, especially if you hit any wall, that's your rhythm gone for a lap.
The thing is, though, I always thought, obviously, when I started to learn Bathurst a bit in my own experience, it was always the upper part of the track that I found more difficult. You're going up the hill than down, but hey ho. Anyway, yeah. So obviously, before we commenced qualified, we did a lap. Obviously, on a lap for Sir Tom, absolute not a national hero. So it was just a quick. We took our time going around the lap, doing our little bit, and then the boys obviously got on with the show. To be fair, it was actually quite obviously with it being 20 minutes, obviously NXTGEN Coffee Man took the victory.
Does he like tea?
I don't know, mate, might be a latte guy himself. I don't know. I really asked him. I haven't really had the chance, to be honest, mate. Whether it's decaf, calf, it's a hard conversation. But no. Obviously, Rick WRX coming in second. Right, literally the gap. You ready for this, lads? Bear in mind, after 22 minutes of racing, 1/10 was the gap.
That would have been great on the line, that, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Then we had Neutron Storm. It was literally just under 5 seconds behind.
I haven't heard that name for a while. Neutron. Yeah, that's a name I know of quite well.
Yeah, and obviously the rest of the field was obviously a lap behind, but it was very competitive, clean racing. So always the lads in lobby too. Yeah, it was good, good lobby to take part in. So
Do we have a champion? Is it Rick? Because it seems to be that Rick's been dominant through most of the season.
I will not lie, I cannot remember as I don't have access to one's points.
It must be,
Uh,
because the amount of times you've said that Rick's won this season, I'd suspect it's Rick.
to be honest with you, I don't know. I can't. I can only apologise for my novice material gathering. Uh, but I've got about 3 or 4 things at the moment on. I'm trying to source.
Okay.
But I think what I want to do is just say thanks to all the lads who obviously took part. Um, Obviously, it's not something I'll be getting involved with next season, unfortunately, due to personal reasons. Um, it's just I've got too much on, and just due to work commitments, I can't. I getting up early in the morning, it's pretty early. Most people will say, "Hey, what 7, 8 o'clock?" I'm up at half 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, due to my job. But it's been a pleasure, obviously hosting. It's been a good laugh as well. Good bit of camaraderie. But yeah, whoever goes on to do in season 20, good luck, and I'll be round. I'll be throwing a little banner behind you all. So, for lobby 2 boys, I'll be behind you. But just want to say thanks to everyone who took part, and I do apologise for being a bit of a pain. Setting up GT Sport is not my strong suit, but hey ho, everyone has a go at the end of the day, don't they? So
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's an end of the Fastar BMW M4 League, which will
Season
be coming back
19.
in season 20. That's confirmed. I can say that now. It's good for those of you to know. Whether we'll be running across 2 lobbies, we're yet to find out. But Mark is obviously coordinating that, so do check on the Facebook page to see how things go. In terms of leagues, obviously we've already discussed last week about Monday's leagues and Tuesday's league, but there is one more league that had another event that happened yesterday, which was the PMR WTCR League on Racestream. Now I have the facts and figures, so Jordan for once can take a breather. He doesn't have to go scrambling to find a post or some tables.
Yay!
Um,
That's
so
disgusting. That he's here to sort this out. Come on, Jack.
if he wants to do it, he can. I don't mind.
No, you carry on, Jack.
This is where George's like texting me, shut up, shut up, shut up.
Yeah, this is where I've already got my deck chair out going. This is perfect.
Yeah.
So we had a three-way tie. Well, I say tie, a three-way championship fight going into the final round in terms of the realistic one. There was a couple of more drivers involved. They went, of course, to Spa-Francorchamps, where they did 3 races around that circuit. And in terms of the first race, well, a bit of an upturn for the books. It was Justin Wellbeloved who took the first race victory. Well played to him. It's been a while since he took a race victory in the series. I know he's took one before earlier on in the calendar, but to get one in the final round, good from him. Second went the way of William Foyle, so keeping his outside championship chances alive. And then third place went to the first of the championship protagonists, which was Zariah Garunyan. He was third. He took pole position for the race as well, so he lost 2 spots. Fourth was Ben Walker, who was leading the championship going into the final set of races, and fifth was Lee Horn as well. He was third coming into the final set of races. So those 3 championship protagonists of Ben Walker, Lee Horn, and Zariah Garunyan were all separated in third, fourth, and fifth in the first race. In the second race, it played out a little bit differently. Fraser Rostons took victory in the second race. That's the one, obviously, with the additional weight that's thrown on there. He took his first victory of the season to come at the final round, so well played to Fraser. It's been a long time coming. Second went the way of William Foyle again, keeping his championship chances alive. And then third went to Lee. Lee got himself on the podium, so that was a really good effort for him. He needed that result in terms of keeping that potential championship fight alive. In terms of the other two championship protagonists, though, Ben Walker and Zariah, Ben was 7th, Zariah was 50th. So lost a lot of momentum in the championship, and I believe he might have been out of the mathematical picture at that point. So it went down to the final race. Zariah won the race, did all he could anyway. Second place went the way of Ben Walker, who took the championship in the end of season 19. So well done to Ben. He came second in the race, sealed that championship. I'll go on to the championship standings in a moment. Third went the way of Jeff Purkis. Fourth was Justin Wellbeloved. Fifth was William Foyle. And sixth was Lee Horn in the end. He ended up sixth. But in terms of the championship standings and how everything played out, really fascinating to see. Ben Walker won the championship with 646 points. He took 6 race victories through the season, 2 second places, 4 third places. He was in the top 3 places in the races 12 times during the season. So, that's a really good effort. Just a shy of a third of the season he was on the podium for. So well done to him. Lee Horn was second in the championship. He got 623 points. He had 3 race wins, but he was on the podium 15 times during the season. So half the races he was in the top 3. Really good play for him. Zariah was third in the championship on 612, so 9 points back from Lee. But get this, Zariah won 8 races. Actually, brilliant on that point. 8 races, but just a couple of races let him down. I think he might have had the non-score in a few of them as well, so couldn't quite get that championship in the end. Fourth place went the way of William Foyle. He was on 569 points. He was sort of on his own in the end. He had an outside chance mathematically going into the final round. Jeff Purkis was then some way back in 5th on 498 points. Fraser Rostance was 6th on 478, so those two quite close together. Justin Wellbeloved was 7th on 352, so about 120 odd points back from Fraser. 8th was Jonas Lindberg, who scored 338 points. We haven't spoken much about Jonas Lindberg. He actually, despite finishing 8th in the season, he took 2 race wins earlier on and 2 second places, so clearly he has got some capability in terms of winning events and races. Jamie Dory didn't race until the 3rd race, but he scored 330 points in the end, finished 9th in the championship, and Matthew Addy rounded out the top 10 on 297. One fascinating thing, though, to say is that there were 12 race winners this season, which is absolutely fantastic. Considering that there's 30 races, you'd estimate that's about 1 new race winner every event, effectively, every 3 races. So, good competitive championship and a lot of drivers taking part. They had a nice solid grid as well. I believe they had 17 drivers in for last night's events. So well played to everyone, and well done to Ben Walker for taking the championship. He sort of led all the way through, but just momentum, a little bit of sap going on, but he's managed to hold everyone off and take the championship. He's taking it away. So I think that's 3 different champions now in 3 seasons, I think.
I believe so, yeah.
If I recall correctly, so could be wide open for season 4. If Zariah gets his act together and starts not having some retirements and DNFs, he could get a good
I would
result.
also point out one of those DNFs was a jump start.
That's true. He was less than 30 points behind in the end. That could have made all the difference. But in terms of everything else, I think the only thing we can talk about now is season 20, unless Jordan corrects me.
Yeah, I think so. I think the only thing to say is that there is still one more league to finish this season, which is the GT3 League. They're heading to Bathurst tomorrow for a 2-hour endurance race on ACC on PS4. So if you are if you are about free and want to have a crack at some GT3 racing, I'm sure there's a few spaces spare. Just get in touch with Elliot.
If it wasn't 2 hours, I probably would, but 2
No,
hours is too long for me.
Nah, it's the second. They always do a 2-hour race to finish the season off. So there we go. But I think other than that, that's all the leagues to speak about.
Yeah, it is. I'm just going to give everyone a little bit of a sneak preview ahead of the post update on Thursday in terms of all the events that are going to be created on Next Gen. What I will say, there's quite a lot going on. There's still a couple of other leagues that are being finalised at the moment, but I can give you a little bit of an insight into what's going to be happening in the upcoming weeks. Now, just have a quick check through just to make sure I've got everyone involved. Yeah, okay, cool. So, in terms of leagues that are going to be happening, events haven't been posted yet, so you will get the chance to sign up for these. Race Room on PC, hosted by Lee Horn, obviously the touring cars, they will be back next season, so that's really excellent to have. On Mondays, the minis won't be returning next season, but there is a new league coming in its place. That's going to be the BMW M3 League, which will be hosted by a couple of people, technically speaking. You've got Dramatic Dave 88 and Next Gen Danzo as well. I'm also an advisor within the series too. Just to give a quick heads up for those that are on Gran Turismo Sport, on a Monday we will be doing a test race next week. We've got the car and the settings all nailed down, but we're deciding on tyres. So come take part in that one. Dave has already put a post up on the Next Gen Facebook page, so you can tune in on that. That's going to be awesome. Also on a Monday, Jord. What are you doing?
On the is confirmed we are going to have another one make series on Assetto Corsa Competizione for season 20. The car is to be announced, for subject to a bit of testing that I'm going to be doing over the course of the next week. I've already tested one of my cars, but yeah, just a little list to see what car's going to be nicest and provide the best racing. But yeah, I'll be taking over with another one make. It was originally, as you know, Jack, going to be a British GT league until 505 Games decided nope, console can have it. Console can't have it when the PC have it. So ruin those plans.
Mondays, 3 different leagues going on across 2 platforms, across 3 games, so that's going to be really awesome. So Gran Turismo Sport, Assetto Corsa Competizione, and Race Room, of course, supported on Monday, so you can get involved on that one. In terms of the Tuesday leagues, yes, the F1 2020 League will be returning in Season 20, matching up with its namesake, of course. And I will tell you this much, the spaces are very quickly filling up. We have 15 drivers confirmed for next season already. 15, ladies and gentlemen. The grid holds 20, so there's 5 spots left. So if you want to take part, make sure you're out and about on the Thursday when all the event pages get posted, because I'll be posting the F1 League on Thursday, so do have a look at that. It's really important to ensure that you do. In terms of other leagues that will be returning, the Assetto Corsa Competizione League for GT3 on PlayStation 4, hosted by Elliot, will be returning. Looking to do 2 lobbies on that one, depending on time availability, depending on the situation. Thursdays, we know that the McGann Trophy is coming back. It's been a very popular league on GT Sport, probably the most popular league we've had on Gran Turismo Sport for a while, so that's going to be really awesome to have the McGanns back. Scirocco still to be confirmed, but we will find out on that one. Assetto Corsa Competizione on PC will be returning as well on Thursday. That's hosted by Kevin Smith, so do check that out again. Thursday, that's when all these posts will be going out. In terms of Friday, there are some leagues that are planned, we just haven't filled them yet. I'm having a few chats with a few potential members in Next Gen who want to get a league going, want to have a few setups of testing to go along. So Friday's still free, but it looks like there will be a league or 2 that's
we do have one confirmed league on the Friday.
Oh, great. Go on. Is it the one that I'm thinking of?
What are you thinking of?
Is it John's?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be running next season.
Is it Friday?
At the moment, provisionally Friday, but potentially Saturday. But I think it's wise to say at the moment, obviously without any further confirmation on a change of day. It's a Friday, Saturday thing.
But it's not confirmed for Friday. What a load of information we've got there for you.
No, I know for anyone ACC related for GT4, look out for a poll in the coming days, which will not determine it, yeah, because John is very much running it, but he wants to try and get the best turnout possible, and if that means running on a Saturday, then that's what he'll do.
Exactly, so Friday or Saturday for that one. George's heart will sink on this one for Saturdays. Assetto Competizione on PC will be hosted by Kevin Smith, and yes, it is the British GT Pack that he will be running on a Saturday. I've seen the event post, I've seen the schedule that he's got for it. Jordan is crying some sad tears at the moment, so you can't hear him, he's muted himself. So, Saturdays you will have the British GT Pack DLC that's on PC. Obviously, when the pack comes out on console, I'm sure Jordan will be very interested in updating his league on a Monday. In terms of Sundays, the Fast R League on Gran Turismo Sport with the BMW M4s will be returning. Mark will be hosting that, Mark Sykes. Again, there will be more information come Thursday when the events will be posted. But in terms of Season 20, that's our schedule currently. There are still a couple of other talks going on about a few, maybe one or two other leagues to slot in. I haven't mentioned iRacing. I haven't mentioned another particular opportunity on another game either. The reason being is they're not confirmed or set. Well, I know the iRacing League is definitely confirmed, but I'm not giving out too many details just yet. But the other league hasn't been provisionally confirmed on the calendar yet, so can't say too much just yet.
Yeah, and
you know what I'm alluding to there, Jordan.
I believe so. Yeah. But I'm also thinking of another league potentially to come back to next gen. And you would know of it, Jack. But again, nothing fully confirmed yet, so I'm not going to state anything right now.
No. What I will say though is all the information can be found on that Facebook announcement area. There was a post made by NXTGEN Racing earlier on in the week. You can go and have a look at that, and the events will be linked in there, so you can just click on them and go straight to them, and it makes your life so much easier. Just have a quick scan through and go all through the different comments. I'll put them in the comments area so you can just have a quick line through, or even the post itself, whichever makes itself easier. But what I will say is, before we end, and before we say goodbye and everything, F1 2020 has a calendar already. I hope that's pricked Mikey's ears up. I know what the calendar is, Jordan knows what the calendar is, but Mikey doesn't.
By any chance is it the same way that I have recommended, or we just go on a certain tracks that people like and don't like?
No, this season Alex had a very good schedule, who we had a nice chat with. One or two tweaks made so that we could use tracks that we haven't used in the calendar before.
You've just contradicted yourself, so either America's on there or America's not on there.
There's other tracks we haven't used.
Yeah, that's not the question I'm asking, mate.
Tune in next week when you find out if Mikey has cried his manly tears, whether America may or may not be on there. Something for you to look forward to. In terms of next week's podcast, gents, I think what we'll do is we'll just have a quick run through of the confirmed leagues. Really, would be the best thing to do.
Yeah.
I think that pretty much sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it won't be a big podcast compared to normal. We'll get everything posted, and then we'll let you know.
America will be confirmed in the F1 2020 season 20. Well, I look forward to that announcement.
That's going to be quite difficult to pronounce because, and just a little aside, we might have a commentator for F1 next season. It's not been confirmed yet, but we might have one. They're gonna have different.
Boys don't want to release my contract yet, but you know.
It's going to be quite interesting for them to say, "Welcome to Next Gen Season 20 of F1 2020."
Yeah, imagine that.
It's going to be quite a tongue twister.
Season 20 of F1 2020. It's me, number 20.
Kevin Magnussen. But in terms of the podcast, you know, in terms of Season 90, we'll also obviously update you about the Assetto Corsa race that happens tomorrow night. We'll give you a little bit of information on that. But that's it for tonight. Unless either of you two have got anything else you want to bring to the table?
Nope, because I don't have an imaginary table in front of me.
No imaginary table for Jord. Mike, do you have anything?
I don't have a table, but I have a bedroom.
Okay, I'm in front of my table then.
No, I think I speak on behalf of 3 of us, which is quite scary when I say that, because I know somewhere on the wheel Jack's thinking,
I'm worried
God,
as you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm worried as you said that.
We have all the faith in our colleague.
That's the first. What's going on with you two?
You will.
No, I on a serious note though, lads, I can only thank people for you know, taking time out of their busy schedules and, you know, just to sit there and listen to 3 idiots blabber on.
I mean, speak for yourself.
I only count as one person, mate. Come on. No, but on a serious note though, we do appreciate people taking the time out of the day to listen, to obviously interact with us, and obviously during the podcast, you know, usually I'll sit on the chat or whatever. I just haven't had a chance today because, like I said, I'm doing like 3 or 4 things at once, as well as this, and typing up some notes or some stuff. So, but yeah, on obviously behalf of myself, Mr. Harding and Mr. Millington, we thank you very much for joining us in Season 19, and we look forward to seeing you in Season 20.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be awesome. But like I said earlier, make sure you tune in on Thursday. See those event pages getting created. Get yourself into the leagues where you can. Even if you feel like you're not quick enough, it's always best to jump in, get yourself involved, and find out a little bit about the race and get some tips from potentially some of the quicker drivers. Or if you're an alien, join anyway. Teach some of us how to go even quicker. It's always beneficial. We help out loads of communities. Of course, as well, don't forget we'll be giving you more information about any team versus team events that are upcoming during the season break, any little test races that are going on during the league events. I mentioned about the M3s on a Monday. The F1 League will be having some races scheduled, not next week, but potentially the week after. So do tune in on that as well, and a couple of other leagues. I know I've got a few plans for that. So do have a look at everywhere, and the podcast will pick up as many as we possibly can. But in terms of tonight, I want to say thanks very much to Mikey.
You're welcome, mate, anytime. On another note, any aliens, don't probe me. I've got a long life to live. If you don't mind, that'd be great.
And on that note, it's bye from Mikey.
Wow.
Okay.
This is when we turn next week and he's not here. It's like, where's Mikey gone?
Yeah.
It's bye from Joel.
Goodbye.
Please look at the link that's on the BBC News. We can't find Mike.
And wherever you might be in the big wide world, stay away from aliens. We'll see you soon.
Hey, they come for you, lad.